Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kareem. Today is going to be a classic book haul video. So I've acquired a couple of books recently and I'm so excited about them that I want to show you guys. The first book that I bought is Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. Jack Edwards has been raving about this book for quite a while now, and recently he mentioned it again in one of his videos and he said that this book made him cry, and that's pretty much all I needed to know. I think it's about a daughter who is killed and the investigation is closed, so her mother is trying to figure out what happened to her on her own. The way Jack talks about it made me want to read it so badly. The next book that I bought is Plaidoirie pour l'avortement by Giselle Halimi or Alimi. I don't know how you pronounce her name. This is a very short book. I don't think it's even a book. It's a speech that this person gave. Apparently she's known, but I don't know her. Basically, she gave a speech about why abortion rights are important. Anything that is related to women's rights and feminism interests me, so I thought this book would be interesting to read and learn. I also bought Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read 3 books by this author. 2 of those, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, are some of my all-time favorite books. Malibu Rising was a bit of a letdown, but this book is her newest one. I think it came out end of last year. And I was waiting for the paperback version to come out because I wanted to have the same edition for all her books. This character actually is a very minor character in Malibu Rising. This time we're following her story. She's a retired tennis player and a new tennis player is about to beat her record or something, so she decides to come back for a final match to prove that she still got it. I think that's interesting, even though I'm not a fan of sports, let alone tennis, but apparently it's still enjoyable even if you don't like this sport. The next book that I bought is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal Al-Mutar and Max Gladstone. I don't know much about this book. I just know that there's time travel and 2 agents that are in this war. Sounds interesting to me. It's also very short. Apparently it's a book that you can read in one sitting because of how good it is. So yeah, I'm very excited. Another book that is super popular and just had to know why is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Now this book took the book community by storm last year, and until now I still see it coming up again and again. It's about 2 childhood best friends who start a company that creates video games, and it just follows them through decades of their life. And I always love stories that follow the same characters throughout decades. I just think it is interesting to see how a person grows. I'm not a big fan of video games. I enjoy them when I play them, but it's not something that I do. So I'm afraid that this book is going to be focusing a lot on video games and things related to video games, but apparently it's enjoyable regardless, so I can't wait to know what the hype is all about. The next book that I bought is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lynn. This is the first book in a duology. I've seen 2 people read it. They both enjoyed it. I don't know much about the content of this book, but I'm excited. I also bought it for a video that I'm working on that's gonna come out sometime this year. Also, so floppy. I was going to buy the hardback edition because it just looked better, but come on, the floppiness won over the hardback for once. And finally, I bought 2 graphic novels. The first one is the 6th and final volume of L'Arabe du Futur, or The Arab of the Future, by Riyad Satouf. I've really enjoyed this graphic novel because it is well written, there's humor, it talks about politics, it talks about a Syrian boy growing up in Syria, in Yemen, in France. I find it very interesting personally because I'm also Syrian. I'm learning things about how it was growing up at that time in Syria under the Assad regime. I feel like even if you're not Syrian, you can enjoy this story because Riyad has lived a very interesting life. He's lived in so many places when he was young, and there's a lot of, again, politics involved. So I'm really excited to see how this story is going to end. And finally, the last book that I acquired is Shubeik Lubeik by Dina Muhammad. She's an Egyptian designer, illustrator, and writer. This is her first graphic novel. The story sounds very interesting. Shubeik Lubeik basically means your wish is my command. It's how all Arab folktales start. When the genie comes out, it's like Shubeik Lubeik, your wish is my command. And it's set in a world where you can buy wishes, and we follow 3 characters. They have different wishes, and we follow them, I think, as they wrestle with making that wish come true, or maybe making the right wish. It sounds so interesting. This is going to be featured in an upcoming video that's going to come out sometime this year. I can't say when because it depends. I need to read the books and then make the video, edit the video. Hello, it's me again. Future Kareem. I mean, Future compared to the other one with the purple shirt. Since I filmed that video, I bought more books. It just happened. In my defense, it was not planned. It's just that I traveled, I went to Madrid, and I like to visit local bookstores whenever I travel. So I went to a couple of bookstores in Madrid, and yeah, I just couldn't help myself. And I bought 5 books. So I thought, since that video hasn't been posted yet, I might as well add them and show them to you. But also, I finally received the Illumicrate box that got lost in the mail. Illumicrate sent me another one, and I finally have my copy of Yellowface, but I have not unboxed it yet because I wanted to do it in front of the camera for you. Let's just start. So since I was in Spain, I wanted to buy a book that was written by a Spanish author. However, I didn't really find any book that I knew or that interested me enough, so I ended up buying a book that was written in Spanish but by an Argentinian author. So I bought The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez. This is a short story collection, and it's kind of like gothic and horror. I had seen this author before. I think Jack Edwards talked about her other short story collection, and I've been interested since. I've never read a short story collection before, I think, so I was curious as well. I already read this book, but I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'll keep my thoughts for the August wrap-up video. This book that I bought is one that I've seen so many times, and I've only heard good things about this book. It's a thriller, and I love me some thrillers here and there. It's Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. It basically follows a woman whose wife gets lost in the sea for a couple of months, and when she comes back, something's different with her, so she's kind of like trying to figure out what's wrong. This is what I thought this book was about, because I also read it already. Again, I will keep my thoughts for the August wrap-up video, but it ended up being something a bit different from what I expected. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. And then I bought 2 classics that I know I want to read at one point for many reasons. First, because, you know, they're classics and I'm curious to understand why. Second of all, it's because, what's her name? Cassandra Clare. Her series, The Last Hours and The Infernal Devices from the Shadowhunter world are based on these novels. I love The Infernal Devices. I love The Last Hours. I still have the last book to read, but I've loved it so far. So yeah, I wanted to see how these books influence these other books that I love. These 2 books are by Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities and Great Expectations. I wasn't planning on buying them now because I don't think I'm gonna read them soon, but I just saw them. They looked so good with the matching covers, and they were cheaper than usual, so I was like, you know what, this is a sign. I'm not sure what these 2 books are about. I know one of them follows an orphan. Yeah, that one. So Great Expectations follows a young man called Pip as his life is changed by a series of events. And this one, I think there's kind of like a love triangle maybe here. Honestly, I don't really know what these books are about. I just know that they're classics and I'm pretty excited to read them. And finally, the last book that I bought, also kind of bought it on a whim. It's The People in the Trees by Hanya Inigahara, the author of A Little Life. One of my favorite books of all time. And I also read her latest novel, To Paradise. I didn't finish it yet because there's 3 parts. I read 2 out of 3. This is her debut novel, and I knew that I wanted to read it at one point. I saw it for the first time in a bookstore, and this edition matches my edition of A Little Life. So I like it was a sign for me to buy it. Also, I really like this cover. I usually don't like it when there's a real person on the book cover, but here it looks nice with the muted colors and the gray. What is this book about, you ask me? I don't know. I'm just reading right now. We follow a young doctor who goes to a remote island in search of a rumored lost tribe. I love Hanya's writing. She's one of my favorite authors, I think, just based on the 2 books that I've read so far, because of the way she writes characters. She makes them feel like actual people because of how many details and how much context she gives her characters. I don't think I will read it this year, to be honest, but I'm really happy that I was able to find this edition of The People in the Trees. So these are the books that I bought from Madrid. I've already read 2 of them, and the rest I probably won't read this year. But yeah, at least I have them in my collection. And now, it's time to open the Illumicrate box. There it is. I mean, first things first. Anyway, Yellowface by Kuang. This is one hell of a story. It's just not hers to tell. Look at this frayed edges. I knew that I wanted to buy this book because Kuang, I've read all her books so far. Babel and the Poppy War trilogy, and love them all. I think she's quickly becoming one of my favorite authors of all time. So anything she releases, I know what will buy. But then I saw this very pretty edition and I just had to own it. It's signed by Miss Kuang herself. This is the naked cover. So what is this story about? We follow 2 women, Athena and June. Athena is Asian and she's a very successful writer. June is also a writer, but she hasn't really found success, or at least as much as her friend June. And one day June dies in an accident, so June decides to steal an unfinished or an unpublished manuscript that Athena was writing before she died. And then she pretends that she wrote it. Hence the title Yellowface. I think it's going to be a study on cultural appropriation, racism in the industry. Apparently it's funny, there's dark humor in it. So I'm really excited because this is such a departure from Kuang's usual books, which are all like fantasy. So yeah, I'm really excited. I cannot wait to read this. These are the 6 extra books for this video. I'll leave you back with past Kareem for the outro. So these are the 8 books that I recently bought. I'm so excited. I'm just looking at them. Brings me joy, brings me happiness, brings me serotonin. I love buying books almost as much as I like reading them. It's not fun for my bank account, but it is what it is. Can't wait to read them. I can't wait to tell you what I think about them. I hope I can read them this year because I already have a very long physical TBR. It's scary how many unread books I own. I hope you enjoyed this very chill video where I just talk about books that I bought and that I'm excited to read. I hope it made you want to pick up one of these books. If you read one of these books, please let me know. What did you think? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to this channel, share it. I'll go back to reading and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.